WCRN, Worcester, Boston.
So coming up, you've got a couple of guests. You want to mention them again?
Yes, we will.
6 o'clock hour, people probably hadn't heard us. A few people waking up, hopefully not with
waking up and
hangovers.
just coming home. Yes, at 7:30 this morning, we're going to have Evan Kenney. Evan is a bright, talented, conservative college student, and he appears on a lot of different networks and does some commentary. He's going to give you his thoughts on the fiscal cliff and some of the nonsense that's going on in Washington.
WCRN, Worcester, Boston.
The other thing the goats will do is they'll fertilize the median strip, so we'll get really good grass growing there.
Yes.
And the alleged homeless people with their signs will have a place to sit down, with a nice cool grass. When
That
they
would
need,
be nice.
Yes, it is, because, I saw, and
we have a guest.
Oh, yeah, hold on a guest a minute here.
Please, don't worry about me. Don't
worry.
On.
I'm not even thinking of you. Don't worry. Yes.
Bob is on a tear today.
I'm sorry. Go ahead with your guess. I'll
go
let you.
vote, yes.
I'm going to go get a coffee and get caffeinated some
All
more.
right.
Because God knows I need it.
Again, I want to introduce you and the listeners, for those who haven't heard this gentleman before, Evan Kenney. And you are from Wakefield, listening to us on the radio, I would assume, right?
That's correct.
And you go to school at Fitchburg.
That is also correct.
Yes. And you've been on quite a few TV shows at this point, and the one that I enjoyed the most is I think that you were brought on MSNBC by Rachel Madcow, who basically thought she was going to eat you up as a young, I'm going to spit this guy out and just show him how great I am, how untalented I am, and how smart I am. But boy, did you prove her wrong. I believe you not literally, but mentally spanked her.
No, Rachel's one of the smartest people in the industry. What she really wanted to do, I think, is make me look like, a victimized 18-year-old kid, who was victimized by the Republican Party in Massachusetts.
We love victims.
And you know what? That's true. It was true. I was victimized, but I wasn't going to take it that way. There were good people in the Massachusetts GOP, and I wasn't going to let her brush over that. So I appreciate that you saw that. I was a celebrity for a little while, but now no one cares anymore.
Oh, no, we care.
Well,
it's not every day you verbally get to spank Madcow.
No, that's true.
Yes.
True.
Not maybe that you'd want to do that, but
no.
Let's get away from that.
Come on.
Let's get serious for a moment. First of all, tell everybody about yourself and how you've gotten to the point that you have at such a young age.
I had a very, very motivational teacher in high school, a public educator, believe it or not.
No, I can get that.
He actually introduced me, and you may not be so fond of this man, but he introduced me to Dr. Ron Paul. And, I was really interested in trying to get Ron Paul the nomination because, the guy who got it didn't do such a great job with it. He talked about Ron Paul's delegate strategy. His campaign strategy was to get delegates elected to the convention. So I ran. We organized this grassroots organization to run against the official Romney slate of delegates at our district caucuses. And we won somehow. I was running against Charlie Baker, who I hope runs for governor in 2014 because he treated me really well. But I ran against, these big names, Kerry Healy, Charlie Baker, Brad Jones. And we just did the hard work that they didn't do, and we got the vote out and we won. And that kind of started my experience here, and I started talking to people because when they kicked me out, the media wanted to make the Republican Party look evil. And the Mass GOP made it very, very easy for them.
They did. I have to admit that they made your job very easy.
They made my job.
Well, you made your job hard, but what you were talking about there, they made it very easy because they did do some major blunders.
Yeah.
Yes.
They made the media's job very easy.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. Well, anyway, so continue to tell us about yourself because I personally think it's a great story. I've had the pleasure of meeting with you and having you on some other shows that I'm involved with, and that's why I wanted to bring you into primetime morning, even though we're...
Absolutely. And now that I'm being caffeinated here, I feel a lot better. I must be addicted to this stuff. I don't know. Well, let me ask you this question. You're a college student. You're on campus. Do you feel out of place at all?
No, actually. You know what? I had, during the elections, during the campaign, there was a debate between Nikki Songus and John Golnick at Fitchburg State. And we had 12 to 15 Fitchburg State students standing out for John Golnick for 2 hours. in the cold, and there was not a single student there for Nikki Songas. So I'm in good company at Fitchburg State. We have a lot of liberty-minded people there, and it's actually it was a nice surprise when I walked on campus.
I hope it continues.
Oh, come on, let's be a little optimistic.
I am. I'm optimistic that a lot of good people like Brian there are going to be leaving, and we'll form a colony somewhere else. How's that?
Well, hey, Evan, one of the reasons I wanted you to you call in today is I wanted your take, as you mentioned before the news, on the whole fiscal cliff thing. So give me your views on that.
We want a brief view before the break?
Yeah, brief view.
Actually, we're going to go pretty much toward the top of the hour.
He's doing a better job than we are on that.
He is, so I'm going to shut up and let him do his thing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, do you want to, by the way, just say that, the WCRN AM 830, 50,000 watts and 508-432-0965.
Yes. These guys are out of control, folks. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, can I just say, Bob, if
Yes.
I had your radio voice, I think
Yes,
I already have.
you'd have lots of chicks. Because
Yeah.
you're good looking, and if I had your youth and looks, I mean,
have lots of
all I can say is sha-la-la-la-la. Did I ever tell you that I majored in foreign affairs in college?
No.
That actually is my degree in foreign affairs. I thought it had to do with dating women from other countries.
I bet I can see why you said that, Bob.
Yes. It didn't work out that way, but oh well.
Great. Hey,
Yes.
the American electorate should be ashamed of its legislators. That's no surprise. We passed last night or early this morning, at least in the Senate, a bill that gave us $15 billion in spending cuts and $620 billion in new taxes, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Do you guys remember the stimulus in 2009?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember how much money that totaled after its passage?
Honestly, no. But
No.
I got to wait a minute.
11 comes to mind, but
No.
no.
How
Go
much?
ahead. Because you're way don't forget we're old.
Yeah.
You still got that computer
Senility
mind
starts
thing going.
kicking in at about age 40, which we haven't seen in quite a while. But go ahead.
This really was frightening to me when I thought about it. It was $787 billion. And do you remember the outrage and the controversy, how we hammered Republicans who voted for the stimulus?
Yes.
I mean, there was an absolute outrage. And here's a bill that comes up. We call it a deal, and it's a $600 billion tax hike.
Can I stop you right there just for 1 second?
Yes.
Because we're calling it a deal. You brought up a very interesting point, and I want to get your opinion of this. Where in the Constitution and where in the mind's eye of the Founding Fathers was there any thought process or anything in print that said that two people should sit down in the room and make the decision for the rest of the country? Because that's basically what happened.
Yeah, you know what though? We have legislators who voted for it. I mean, when we don't punish our bad politicians, we get a devaluing currency and no transparency in our monetary policy. The Federal Reserve has not been audited in 100 years of its existence. It blows my mind every time I think about it. It really, really is mind-blowing that the American people are not allowed to look at what's going on with their money that's being shipped overseas without congressional approval.
So have you ever examined or thought of the gold standard and so on, switching our foundation of our monetary policy here in the U.S. to something else so that maybe we can't print the worthless money and there has to be some sort of accountability for what we're
Bob,
doing?
I just saw the Miracle Marijuana store.
Oh, going
I hate to interrupt, but it's a mobile one.
It is.
Yeah,
It
okay,
is,
just
yes.
go back to that.
Everybody hum one toke over the line. No, never mind.
Bob, you mentioned the gold standard earlier. I mean, I'm no economist, and I don't pretend to be an expert, but it makes a lot more sense to me to have our dollar backed by some commodity than just by speculation and quantitative easing, according to the Federal Reserve.
And printing monopoly money.
It's literally creating money out of thin air, and people don't understand that. A lot of people really don't understand what's going on with the dollar. I mean, the Federal Reserve, by purchasing financial assets and creating money out of thin air, and then just pumping it into the market, our dollar is being devalued. Our dollar has lost 98% of its value since 1913. I mean, that is just so tragic in an American economy that was once prosperous. We're not as prosperous as we once were.
Well, Bob, he's a wealth of information.
I'm loving this kid. Yeah. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Well, my major is film video. I wouldn't mind stealing your job, actually. I'd like to do talk radio someday.
You want to do talk? I think you'd be very good at it, because the first thing you got to be is wicked smart, and I think
Wicked smart,
and I think you're going to be doing
Worcester.
that. The other thing, honestly, what you got to do is know your stuff. You do that very well.
Yes,
you're
he does.
well read. Most people aren't, and I think
Bob will give you voice lessons, although you got a good voice.
Yeah.
Oh no, your voice is fine. I mean, hey, and and I don't want to take away from that. Just a quick funny story here is that most people who got into broadcasting back when I was in it actually are failed singers. A lot of them are.
Really?
Yeah, they really are. They started off as a singer and just didn't work out for whatever reason, or they at least took a heck of a lot of voice lessons, that sort of thing. I had over 10 years of vocal training and singing. But instead
What's your
of singing,
favorite song to sing, Bob?
Oh gosh, yeah, I like doing old standards like Sinatra stuff and so on. But instead of singing, you learn to talk pretty. So that's what you do. So
Talk pretty.
talk pretty. That's what I call it. But no, going back seriously.
There is a wig shop next door.
Yes, thank you
All right.
much. Yes, sir. Talk pretty. Give me a break. I'm losing my train of thought.
You are,
here,
and,
but
we've got this great guy on the phone.
this
So let's let him
guru
go here.
guru, yes.
All right, Evan, go back. Keep hitting them out of the park for us, Evan.
Well, I mean, I'm not that much of a wealth of information, but it's striking to me. I was reading Rep. Justin Amash's Facebook page. He's from Michigan. He is a great congressman. If you don't know who he is, please look into him and follow him. He's talking about people are out of work and families are losing their homes. And there was a serious conversation going on today about giving Congress a raise, about giving them a pay raise, rewarding them for not letting us see what's going on in the Federal Reserve, rewarding them for hiking our taxes by $620 billion. That really blows my mind, that we're actually considering giving these people more money, rewarding them for what a behavior
For not
that shouldn't-
passing a
That's-
budget,
that's-
Yes, I
being
mean,
the most ineffective Congress since 1947, and the list
I
goes
might,
on and on.
I might disagree with that, though, on the most ineffective Congress.
Well,
Because what the Congress is trying to do is trying to stand up and block, at least the Congress part, not the Senate, block what is going on in the other two wings of government, the White House and the Senate.
well, you
And
do have a
and
point.
by and frankly, I think that's the best we could have hoped for, at least for our side. But Evan, let me ask you a couple real quick questions. First of all, are you planning on staying in Massachusetts when you graduate?
yeah, I am.
Really?
I do. I see a.
You're suicidal.
I see a potential. No, I see a potential for growth in the Massachusetts Republican Party. It's just a matter of changing the message. It's a matter of reaching out. You see a big change in attitude when earlier this summer or in the spring, when the Mass GOP was willing to kick out an 18-year-old kid from their delegation who was justly elected and duly elected. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think there's too much pressure from the outside to get people to pull in. I'm a libertarian Republican. To get people to pull in the youth. Unfortunately, the youth demographic doesn't care as much about these social issues. But we need to invite them because they're with us on fiscal issues.
Well, certainly down the road, they're going to be getting hit good and hard with fiscal issues.
That's right.
Because of tax policy and what's going to be happening to them.
They already are. I mean, look at student loans.
But are they getting the message? Do they understand that?
I really think they do. I think
because we look at the voting patterns of the youth, and how they still overwhelmingly support Barack Obama. Is that because he's wicked cool, or are those the policies they want, or they just don't know any better?
In this case, it was because he wasn't Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney. There was this fear surrounding Mitt Romney about honestly, all I heard on the campus was about gay marriage. Is how much he detests gay marriage. He doesn't want gay marriage. When you make that the centerpiece of your conversation, you're not going to get the vote of the youth, because homosexuality has come to be virtually accepted, unanimously among the youth demographic.
We have got a caller. I want to take one quick call here with you, if we can do that.
Sure.
Before top of the hour, then I want John to kind of wrap it up with you. So, hi, caller. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, guys. It's Happy New Year. It's Q.
Hey, Q, how are you?
Q, how are you doing? Happy New Year.
Great. Sorry, I have a little late start tonight. It was an even later ending last night. So
we won't go
I
into
knew you was touching the Jameson there.
John was predicting it.
Yeah.
Irish coffee.
Irish coffee.
Irish coffee.
For a Swede.
We went to all the Ireland counties that we had. Hey, listen, I'm enjoying the conversation. I really am. But, one thing, too, I'm seeing is, we talk of trying to rebuild the Republican Party. Well, until you can get a message that not just resonates with youth, but resonates with the disenfranchised, until you have a message and have the ability to address the needs of the 98%, it's going to happen and continue in Massachusetts. You're not going to get any groundswell of support. I just don't see it happening until the message resonates with everybody. And I'm not saying that you don't represent that, but when you have people that turn around and blame, people voting for Obama as being stupid, when you have people, and that's the excuse that Romney lost. People are just too dumb to know enough, or they got free handouts.
Yeah, but Q, I disagree with that part of the message. I don't think Obama's dumb. I think he's a very smart man.
Right.
And I also think that people are voting their pocketbooks both sides of the issue, and I think that's what you're actually seeing. But let's let Evan answer the question. We get just a minute or so left. Evan?
Well, Bob, what you're talking about right there is that's the real fiscal cliff, is that there are so many people voting with their wallets who are in the government dole that we're already past that fiscal cliff of dependency. I mean, too many people are dependent on government, which I think is probably a whole other conversation. But Q, you were talking about the Republican Party needs to reach out to those who are
We got under a minute, by the way.
Sure. The Republican Party needs to reach out to those who are disenfranchised. I mean, I'm a perfect example of one who was literally disenfranchised by the Republican Party in Massachusetts and has now been welcomed with open arms. I was disenfranchised from the RNC delegation, and they woke up, they gave me back my seat, and now I'm working for candidates, and I'm volunteering whenever I can.
Right, that's very good, but when you have Republicans like Cantor and Ryan and Mitch McConnell and Boehner that met the first time Obama was being inaugurated that very day, saying we got to do anything we can to defeat him, who's putting party before politics and who's putting their politics before the American people?
Absolutely.
That's what's wrong with America.
So I got to hold you both there. I want to, thanks, Q. Thank you.
Evan, actually stay with us.
Yeah, stay with us for the top of the hour, Evan, and we'll get back to you on News and Talk Radio, AM 830 WCRN.
Well, Evan is still with us, and I've asked him to stay on because over the phone I would like him to meet my next guest, who I find is an extremely amazing man. We have an extremely amazing young man, and we've got a slightly older, extremely amazing man. Jay is already laughing. Jay Blake, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, John?
Good. Jay, I don't get a chance too often on the weekends to talk about automotive things because, as you know, that's my passion, especially when it comes to the hobbyist side. But I'm, doing the morning show here, so I thought that I would have you call in. You live down in Cape Cod in Marston Mills, and you're listening to us down there. And you're very unique from the standpoint that you own a professional drag racing team, and I want you to explain all that. And you're doing extremely well, and you don't live in Florida, South Carolina, or California. You live on Cape Cod.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm born and raised in Massachusetts.
Born and raised in Mass. I believe the Saugus area or something like that originally?
Now, Wayland, Waltham area.
Oh, okay. That's your brother, I guess, right? And he also is in drag racing. Yes. But anyway, tell us a little about what kind of car your team runs, what you do, and how well you did this year.
I run a nonprofit organization called Follow a Dream, which is a nonprofit organization designed to educate children and adults on the power of positive thinking, self-determination, and teamwork. We do this throughout the country. Follow Dream started in 1999, and this year we won the East Coast Regional Championship. We're the third race team to do it in 30 years. It's been dominated by two race teams in that 30 years. We're only the third team to win it this year. We've won some of the biggest races all over the country. We're to a variety of different TV shows, and I speak all over the country, getting ready next week to visit the Porter Chester Institute schools in Connecticut and Massachusetts and give a motivational presentation.
Yeah, I'm on the Professional Advisory Council for them. That's a great school.
5 tools for your life's toolbox.
Yes.
So it keeps me very, very busy. And we race what they call an alcohol funny car. It does not run on Jack Daniels. It runs on methanol.
Darn.
And it's an 8-cylinder engine, makes about 3,500 horsepower, accelerates from a standing stop to over 260 miles an hour in 5.5 seconds in a quarter mile.
And how long does it take to stop?
They give us plenty of room to stop usually, but we have 2 parachutes and brakes, so that helps. The parachutes really help stop the car, so it's a great thing. But what makes this program so unique is I started it after I lost total sight, smell, and taste in an industrial accident. So I work on this 3,500 horsepower car, and I am totally blind.
Yes, and you know, when we say totally blind, this isn't legally blind. Jay was in a horrible industrial accident, and as it was mentioned on Chronicle, you died in the accident, and for some miraculous reason, you came back to us, and you decided to ramp up your life and make a difference. That's one reason why the followadream.org was founded, and you go out, and that's for your motivational speaking. And if you ever get a chance to hear Jay speak, I would highly recommend it. But the amazing thing is what you have accomplished since you have been blind, and what all of a sudden turned that light switch on in your head when it wasn't shining outside your eyes.
Well, you know, it was just a simple case of I was at a point in my life where everything I had done in the past was now over. I made a career as a technician, and nobody's going to hire me to work on their cars and trucks, and I couldn't drive them anymore. So I decided that I was going to follow my dream, excuse me, and start my own race team. And that's really what happened. And, you know, at some point in our life, we're all faced with different struggles, and if you decide to sit down and let those struggles beat you, they will. But if you just tell yourself, this isn't going to beat me, and you stand up and you fight back. And sometimes the fights take longer than others, but you just keep fighting, and you win.
Well, Jay, you told me one time how that when you came back to good old planet Earth and you woke up in the hospital, you were with your brother, and you had a revelation that you knew what was wrong with you. You had a lot of, let's say you were enlightened a lot when you were above us. And since that has happened, obviously getting over the accident and all the reconstruction that you had to go through, because obviously you were very seriously injured, what's the hardest thing that you've had to learn how to do since you lost your sight and sense of smell and sense of taste?
Honestly, the hardest thing I've had to learn to do, is deal with blindness in general. Not seeing people is probably the hardest thing. You know, not being able to see my kids, my wife, and my family. Just seeing people is probably the hardest thing you deal with on a daily basis at times. And then learning how to use computers has been another struggle.
Well, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine about that yesterday, and tell everybody how that you do that. And I remember it wasn't all that long ago that you tackled that, and it was the first time I ever heard frustration in your voice since we've known each other. And you said, "Man, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. I don't know if I can do this, but I got to somehow get through it." And obviously you have. But how do you do that when you can't see the screen?
Well, there's a great program called the Carroll Center for the Blind in Newton, Massachusetts, and they're world-renowned for training the blind how to work with the blindness. And they have taught me how to work with computers. And the computer actually talks to you. I'm actually calling you from an iPhone, and the iPhones are built with a setting in them that they talk to you as well. So it makes it much easier to navigate with what they call screen readers. So it tells you where you are on the screen.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Unfortunately, really, I'd rather get my hands dirty and greasy and work on the race car than sit in front of a computer and try and figure it out. So.
And you do that. I mean, that's something that also needs to be talked about. In the Chronicle story that just aired about a week ago, it showed you at your toolbox, and it basically showed you how you working on the car, tearing apart the motor, and doing various things, which I've seen you do a number of times, and how you have developed a sense in your hands, one for the weight of tools, the size of the tool, knowing what the parts are, knowing where the bolts came out of, just by sense of touch, is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's truly amazing what can be done with your eyes closed. I was sighted for 31 years, and I am 46 now, so I'm not old. I'm just a more mature teenager. But it's truly amazing what can be done with your eyes closed. You never know until you're faced with it, and one afternoon I was faced with it.
Jay, I just watched you take apart, I believe, the engine of a drag racer on YouTube here, and my mind is blown. I don't think I'm ever going to tell anyone that I can't do anything anymore. You know what, Bob? I've decided, I'm certain of it, I can change the political landscape of Massachusetts if Jay Blake can take apart an engine while he's blind.
Did you hear that, Bob?
Well, you know what?
Say that again, Evan, because Bob was fixing something again.
Was he up getting coffee again?
Yeah, he was up getting coffee
I was
again.
Actually, yes.
So go ahead. Tell that line again. It's worth stating again. And you at home take notes on this one.
I said if Jay Blake can take apart the engine of a drag racer while he's blind and he can't see anything, I'm fairly certain I can change the political landscape of Massachusetts.
There
we go.
There you go. Yes.
I'm not going to say I can't.
All right.
Okay.
That's the right attitude, Evan. And let me tell you, Evan, I will let you fight the political battle, and I'll keep working on race cars and promoting racing in America.
Sounds good. That sounds excellent.
And by the way, Jay does have similar values to us. That's good news for us. But the good news is that he tries to teach people, and he opens the doors and turns the lights on for people to say, hey, you can do this. Don't get down. You can do this. And Jay, I've seen you so many times do those engine teardowns, and it's absolutely amazing. I mean, the people stand there, and they just stand there with their mouths open. Like, you get the wrenches out, the feel and the weight and the size just by touching them. You start tearing this, 3,800 horsepower motor apart, and then you put it back together, and then they fire up the car, and it runs. And people go like, the blind guy did it, and yeah.
Well, it's truly a team effort, and that's what makes us so successful is a team effort. Nobody can do it alone, whether it's Evan trying to change the political landscape of Massachusetts or us trying to win a race. It takes a team of people, and that's what's important.
Wow. Jay, we were down in Vegas together at a convention, sitting at a bar very late in the night because you had just flown in.
John.
Yes.
Didn't they ever tell you?
Yeah, but this is a good. I know we weren't doing anything wrong. We were having a conversation about what you have a dream of doing.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Not what you maybe necessarily. No, come on now. You're a happily married guy. So am I.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen. We were sitting there, and you blew the bartender's mind because of what you were talking about. Tell everybody what you've accomplished so much, and what is the thing that you want to do at the Bonneville Salt Flats?
I want to go to the Bonneville Salt Flats and become the fastest blind man in the world, driving a car myself with nobody else in it at over 200 miles an hour, to show people what can be done with a positive attitude, determination, and teamwork.
Now, you've told me that for a while that you already basically have the car, but how are you going to handle that, and how are your plans to accomplish that? And this isn't something that you're going to do tomorrow, but you've been working on this for a while, and not knowing you're going to do it.
Yes, we will do it. We do not have the car yet.
Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry.
No.
Well, so somebody buy him a car, will you?
Right, please. Step up. We're going to... I started Follow a Dream with a car called a Super Comp Dragster, and I still have that car, and I am working on testing in that car, which will give us the ability to draw some more attention to this effort, helping to find funding. But then we will purchase a car to go to Bonneville and go to Bonneville. So it's a project we've been working on for a while, and, you know, trying to grow the Follow a Dream program and the funding for that, it takes a bit of precedence at the time because that one's up and running, and the Bonneville program I work on a little bit here and there, and at times it gets pushed aside. But this year we're going to step up on it a little bit, and I accumulated some pieces over last summer, radio systems and safety equipment and things to help move the program forward. So that's one of our new adventures, and stay tuned. You can follow us on Facebook and our website, as John mentioned, followdream.org, and I'm going to break into the world of Twitter here pretty soon, which is a scary thought, but we're headed that way.
All right, Jay, how many miles a year do you travel on a tractor trailer going to races and speaking engagements?
I'm not really sure how many miles. I know it's a bunch, and if you ask my wife, it's a lot more than I think it is. So.
All right. Safe to say you go ocean to ocean and north to south a few times throughout the year in many cases. Yes,
we travel the country.
All right. Well, Jay, thank you so much for calling in. We really appreciate it. God bless you, and man, if ladies and gentlemen listening out there, please go check out that amazing organization and read Jay's story. I think you'll be inspired. He also does speaking engagements. I think it'd be a great thing to have him come speak to you. And hey, you know, Evan, he ought to come up to Fitchburg State College and inspire some students. What do you think?
Yeah, let's start working on that right now. I'm inspired only hearing him over the phone. I can't imagine seeing him speak in person.
I'd love to do that, Evan. Let's get together and, you know, don't let these crazy people stop you. Follow your
All right. Unfortunately, guys, we got to take a hard break here, so we'll be back with more on WCRN News and Talk AM 830.